we're working to connect a region of over 600 new bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Alma Angeles, and we go straight to the news. The We Heal as One Center at the Philippine Arena Complex in Ciudad de Victoria, Bocaue, Bulacan is on advanced stage of completion. That is according to the Department of Public Works and Highways. Take a look. Now, earlier in its Facebook and Twitter posts on Sunday night, April 26, the DPWH said that the quarantine facilities for COVID-19 at the Ciudad de Victoria are near completion. It also showed a video of the work done so far on the facilities. The DPWH worked on the modification of 3 mega tents at the Ciudad de Victoria grounds after it sent a team to assess these on April 13. DPWH Task Force on Augmentation of Local and National Health Facilities Head Undersecretary Emil Sadain said that poles, primary power lines, transformers, and other accessories were being set up in the grounds to provide electricity to the tents. He also said that the department targets to finish all cubicles, nurse stations, sanitizing chambers, and test booths of the center by Monday, April 27 today. Also, Mr. Sadain said that Manila Electric Company or Meralco gave its commitment to work on putting up the poles, power lines, transformers, and other accessories. He had also requested Meralco Chair Manuel Pangilinan for free Wi-Fi access from PLDT and Smart Communications, while Maynilad will provide free water supply. The DPWH official also anticipated that all civil works in Ciudad de Victoria for the mega tents would be finished in less than 10 days. Work there started on April 20. Attorney Glicerio G.P. Santos IV, the Chief Operating Officer of Maligaya Development Corporation, had earlier showed to the DPWH team the 3 mega tents that would be turned into quarantine facilities for about 440 COVID-19 patients with mild symptoms and asymptomatic patients. The INC has also offered housing facilities inside the complex for doctors, healthcare workers, and other staff who would be manning the quarantine facilities. Earlier, the Philippine government thanked the Iglesia ni Cristo or Church of Christ for offering the use of the Ciudad de Victoria complex in Bocaue, Bulacan to be used as isolation and quarantine center for COVID-19 patients. The Department of Health reported 285 new persons infected with the coronavirus disease, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 7,579. During a COVID-19 virtual presser, DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergiere also reported 70 new recoveries and 7 new deaths. The total number of recovered cases nationwide is now 862, while the death toll has climbed to 501. Let's listen in.
1 deaths. Sa ngayong April 26, 2020, meron po tayong 862 recoveries. Meron po tayong total of 501. Para naman po sa update ng bilang ng mga kaso ng COVID-19 sa bansa, ngayong April 26, 2020, meron po tayong 862 recoveries. Meron po tayong total of 501 deaths. Meron po tayong total ngayon na 7,579 na positive cases.
All right, our EBC correspondent in Thailand, Cristel Mapa, joins us live, and she was able to talk to Mr. Natapanu Nopakun, Deputy Director General of the Department of Information and Deputy Spokesman of the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Thailand. We had to tape his interview due to conflict of his schedule and the press briefing that he gives daily to the country. Cristel, how are you?
Yes, Alma, I'm doing good, and I hope you are too.
Oh, yes,
Mr.
I am doing great.
Natapanu Nopakun had granted the request to give us an overview of what Thailand is doing right now to stop the spread of coronavirus situation here. Let's watch this.
As for the mass testings, the Ministry of Public Health has been focusing on, in terms of targeted type of testing instead of mass testing, because it has been proven that mass testing actually does not actually work for all countries. What they use is they use the term active case finding. So meaning that when there are particular areas or provinces or activities that we know may have a high risk, we go straight to that cluster. We go straight to that cluster and perform active case finding. So most likely we'll find cases because we know about the risk, about the movement and everything, as compared to mass testing, meaning you test everybody in the whole population. The Public Health Ministry of Thailand has tried that already, and the percentage of finding confirmed cases is very, very, very low. So it does not actually correspond. So that's the method that we're going through. Yes. From the looks of it, many countries in ASEAN or even in China, I think, are at the risk of the second wave. So we have been reminding the people to be very mindful and cautious of the resurgence. So if you see the numbers going down, we would not want people to put their guard down. But the thing is, that when people see the numbers going down, they are kind of happy, so they go outside, and there's more traffic now in Bangkok compared to like 2 weeks ago. So which is quite it's quite of concern. But from the looks of it, it seems like the second wave might not hit Thailand as much as in other countries because our numbers have been steady, been going down quite steady, and we're reminding people to continue to keep their guard up. And of course, because Thailand is not a big country in terms of area size like China, for example, there's a second wave in China in terms of the city of Harbin in the north, when they thought that they had already treated all cases, but there came a re-emergence in that faraway city. But Thailand, we're in sort of a controlled and centralized system of management with all the provinces under the Ministry of Interior. So therefore, it's kind of controllable in some sense. So the measures will have to continue in all provinces around the country in the same standard and level, so as to avoid the second wave. For the case of Singapore, I think it's also specific because it's a small country with a dense population. So they have been doing very well from the beginning, but of course the second wave can hit anybody without them knowing it. So I think with our system of active case finding, of the state quarantine system, of controlling all the inbound flights, and people coming down from flights will have to mandatory, compulsory, 100% go into the state quarantine process. And then all the other measures like curfew, we've received good cooperation from the Thai population as well as the foreign community in Thailand, which are very important. So I think we're on the way towards fighting off or preventing the second wave. Tens of millions of tourists yearly, like 40 million or something. But we are still deliberating on whether to extend the flight ban because it's sort of like we're in the last, what do you call it, last curve. You know, it's the do or die part. If we put our guard down and allow everybody to come in on the 1st of May, for example, and then suddenly on the second week of May, we become something like Singapore, that would be very, very, very dangerous. All our efforts would go down the drain. So they are deliberating. I think today is Saturday. So Monday, the Prime Minister will have a high level meeting to finalize this issue about continuation of the emergency decree, the curfew, and the flight ban. But as soon as the flight ban is lifted in, I don't know when, so May, June, whatever, whenever it is lifted, I hope that this will be the norm, meaning that this morning, I actually saw a video of the exact procedures that when you arrive in Suvarnabhumi Airport in Thailand, what exactly will happen, the visual part of it. It's very standard. It's very stringent. I hope that will be the norm when we have normal flights for foreigners, as you asked. I hope that they will put into the requirements something about health. You know, of course, flying is easy and convenient these days, but in this day and age, health guarantee is important. So perhaps I would be guessing something like more documents when you book your flights or when you contact your travel agency coming to countries that have been at risk to COVID, like Thailand. Not only Thai citizens, of course. Like we have in terms of labor, over 3 million foreign labor in Thailand from neighboring countries. In terms of expats, in terms of people working in Thailand, I mean that's very important. We've received many questions about how the government will be assisting for the foreign community as well, not only in terms of uh, salary or benefits or their loss, but in terms of re-entering the country and living normal lives as well. So I think the labor ministry should be looking into this in detail for the labor group, for the expat group. And I know that there are like tens of thousands of Filipinos in Thailand, of course, utilizing your skills in language and in the service industry and all the skill sets that Filipinos have in restaurants, in hotels, in hospitals, nurses. I think that's a very good contribution to Thai economy and Thai society. So I don't think that they will be overlooking this in due course. But of course, it's in the realm of the labor ministry. But I'm looking into updating this information as well. As soon as I have, perhaps I'll provide that to the foreign community and perhaps even announce it during the press briefing for the benefit of the foreign community, because the audience in the press briefing are the foreign community and the English language audience. But of course, with my personal experience living in the Philippines, I'm kind of attached to the Philippines. It's like sort of like my second home when I was young. When I was studying there as a son of a diplomat, a Thai diplomat. So my message is, well, perhaps we have to think that tomorrow will be better, and that we're one and the same. It doesn't make a difference now if you're Filipino or Thai when you fight COVID. It doesn't make a difference if you're Chinese or Japanese or American or Latin American. It's a common enemy. So as I mentioned at the end of this the press briefing today, I try to be inspirational to the viewers, because I know that this is viewed outside of Thailand as well, and we have a big foreign community. So what I mentioned is, of course, I might have some copyright problems because I mentioned about we are the world. Okay, I mentioned we are the world is us. In Thai, it's เราคือโลก โลกคือเรา So it doesn't make a difference. Now we are in solidarity. We're one and the same. So hope that the Filipino community in Thailand will continue to be a strong force in the economy of Thailand, because it doesn't make a difference now. It's all the same. When the Thailand prospers, the Philippines prospers. Overseas workers, balik bayan, right? When you go back. So when Thailand prospers, the Philippines prospers. When Thailand and the Philippines prospers, ASEAN prospers. The region prospers. And when Thailand is healthy, the Philippines is healthy. It's all one and the same. We're one world, one health. So that's my message. And thank you very much for your contribution and your kindness and your friendship with Thailand.
Christelle?
Yes, Alma, right now, based on Ministry of Public Health of Thailand, the number of confirmed cases is at 2,932. There are reported deaths of 52, and there are 2,609 recoveries. Alma?
All right. So, Christelle, thank you very much for that, for tapping Mr. Natapuno for Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. And I would like to know, how is Thailand doing right now? Is there a flattening of the curve? How are you guys doing?
Yes, so far from the reports that we received today, Alma, there are only 9 confirmed cases added. So it seems like that the curve is already flattening. But as what we have heard from Mr. Natapanu, the Prime Minister will release if the emergency decree will be extended for another month. So we will keep you updated for that.
Okay. You know what? I'm interested also because we know that around ASEAN countries, especially Thailand, the street food industry is very big there. How is that looking right now? I know it's been affected, but with the flattening of the curve, are you slowly opening up the street food industry as well?
Yes, Alma. So far, I wasn't able to see any street food vendor outside because they are not actually allowed to sell foods.
Okay.
But there are some restaurants that are open, but just for takeaway or for takeout.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Christelle. Maybe we can one day come and visit, or you can one day come and visit here. Thank you so much, Christelle. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Likewise, Alma. This is Crystal Mapa reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. We live in interesting times.
All right. ASEAN in Focus, we'll be right back.
Maraming salamat po sa nurse na nag-asikaso sa amin ng anak ko kahit sobrang busy niya.
Hindi po ako iniwan ng doktor hanggang sa umayos ang pakiramdam ko. Salamat po talaga.
Thank you po sa nursing assistant na pumansin agad sa amin pagdating namin ng ospital.
Thank you so much po talaga sa lahat ng staff ng ospital, maging sa mga utility po, dahil gumaling po ako dahil sa kanila.
Ating pasalamatan at pangalagaan ang mga magigiting na health workers.
This program is presented by
SMC Infrastructure, building a better world.
Co-presented by Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Kubert Industries Incorporated, Trading and Services, the cooling expert. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, color for protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer. DN Steel. EMAT UPVC Roof Corporation.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
An unusual weather in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Joining us live from Vietnam is Chriselle Lacuna. Hello, Chriselle.
Hi, Alma.
What are your updates for us?
So yeah, that's true. Unexpected hail hit parts of Ho Chi Minh City and some southern Vietnamese provinces amid the dry season on Saturday. The hail was recorded in the northern part of the city as well as Dong Nai and Tay Ninh provinces, with hailstones measuring about 0.5 centimeters in diameter. It lasted only a few minutes and did not cause any damage, but many residents were quite concerned about the rare phenomenon. According to Le Thi Chuan Lan, a weather expert based in southern Vietnam, hail is not unprecedented in Ho Chi Minh City, meaning it's been rarely happening from time to time already. In southern, the region has been affected by hot weather since March. As the temperature rises, water evaporates and is pushed to a higher altitude, forming into convection clouds, the weather expert elaborated. As it gets colder at a higher altitude, the water vapor becomes frozen droplets, which eventually result in hail. The weather pattern may continue in the upcoming days, especially during the transition between the dry and rainy season. The rainy season in southern Vietnam is expected to start in early May, adding that tropical depression will begin to form in the Pacific Ocean near the Philippines during this time. Let's move on to a more political news. Vietnam opposes China's establishment of so-called Sancha City. Vietnam strongly protests China's establishment of the so-called Sancha City and related acts in the East Vietnam Sea as they seriously violate Vietnam's sovereignty. The Vietnamese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Letty Tu Hang said on Sunday. China announced on Saturday the formation of the so-called Sisha district at Vietnam's Hoang Sa, or known as Paracel Archipelago, and the Nan Sha district at the Southeast Asian countries Chung Sa or Spratly Archipelago in the so-called Sancha City in the East Vietnam Sea. Vietnam has strongly affirmed many times that the country has sufficient historical evidence and legal foundation to assert its sovereignty over the Hoang Sa and the Chung Sa archipelagos. Those moves of China are invalid and unrecognized, and they are not favorable for the friendship among nations, and further complicate the situation in the East Vietnam Sea, the region, and the world. Vietnam demands that China respect Vietnam's sovereignty and abolish its wrongful decisions related to the actions and not commit similar acts in the future. Vietnam was the first country to explore, possess, and establish sovereignty in a continuous and peaceful manner on the Hoang Sa and Chung Sa Islands. So this issue has been going on for a while now. So many countries already claim for the sovereignty or the territory, like Taiwan, Malaysia, of course the Philippines, Brunei, and the China. They're claiming the sovereignty to the parts of these scattered islands and reefs. So far, that's the news from Vietnam. Alma?
So Vietnam has already loosened some of the curbs over there for the coronavirus. Is everything going back to normal now? It seems normal, or is it a new normal that everybody's self-distancing, working from home still, or are they going back slowly to work now?
Well, some of the companies, they began to reopen. And actually, the Prime Minister has signed a directive, number 19, wherein it includes precautionary measures on how to still fight this current pandemic. It includes to still observe safe distance from others and to washing of hands frequently and wearing of masks. And sport tournaments and entertainment facilities are still suspended.
Okay.
And government agencies and factories were reopened, but must ensure safety.
What about church activities? Are they allowed there now, or still, or gatherings are still banned from doing so? Chriselle? Okay, I think I lost Chriselle there. We have a connection problem. All right, let's go over to Cambodia, and Crystal Ann Ballesteros joins us live. Hello, Crystal Ann.
Hi, Alma. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Crystal Ann. What are your updates for us?
According to Khmer Times, Cambodia continued to show remarkable recovery rates of COVID-19 positive victims, with another 2 recoveries bringing the total recovered to 119. This means just 3 more COVID-19 positive victims are still in hospital and being treated for the deadly virus, which has thus spared Cambodia in terms of death. According to Minister of Health Man Bun Heng, the 3 remaining patients are in Sihanoukville, Bantay Menchai, and Kampong Cham province. Thus, the capital and the Kamai Soviet Friendship Hospital does not have any more COVID-19 positive cases receiving treatment. Minister Man Bunheng said that although the overall situation appears to be positive, he cautioned against complacency and expressed concerns that people have forgotten self-hygiene and social distancing and have taken these measures lightly or have discarded them altogether with no new cases announced. A task force official said tests are still continuing but would not reveal on whom, how, or where except that it involves largely those who had been tracked down by contact tracing. Having said that, Alma, Prime Minister Hun Sen called on the masses to stay indoors as much as possible to contain the spread of COVID-19, as Cambodia's neighbors has not seen the curve flatten yet. In a post on his official Facebook page, the Prime Minister asked people in the kingdom not to leave home except when absolutely necessary. Mr. Hun Sen said that despite the positive results shown by his government in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, with no new cases reported for 2 weeks, the people needed to take extra precautions to protect themselves and others from contracting the coronavirus. He added that do not underestimate the virus and think that the country will always be okay. Aside from the COVID-19 update, Alma, from April 23 until early next week, Cambodia expects rainfalls almost countrywide, according to the new forecast shared by the Ministry of Water Resources and Meteorology. The ministry said the rainy season is also expected to arrive earlier than last year, and it usually begins in mid-May with average to moderate levels of rainfall. Back to you, Alma.
All right, thank you very much. How is Cambodia looking right now outside? Can you give us a bit of a picture
Cambodia
there?
seems normal, as if nothing happens, but still schools and work are still closed. The schools are still closed and the flights are still suspended.
Okay. What about...
Because of the precautionary measures by the Prime Minister.
Yes. Open businesses. What about businesses? Some only essential ones are open, or some businesses have started to open?
Some businesses are open, but like casinos and KTVs are still closed.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Crystal Ann, and we'll see you later for your updates. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Likewise, Alma, reporting from Cambodia, I am Crystal Ann Ballesteros, and we live in interesting times.
Okay, let's head on over to New Zealand. The country is preparing to move out of nationwide lockdown at midnight. Joining us live from New Zealand is Bea Borja. Hello, Bea.
Mom, how are you?
I'm good. Very positive. How about you?
It's good here too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So what are your updates for us, Bea?
So today is the last day of alert level 4 lockdown in New Zealand. Just like many countries in the world, the lockdown was imposed as a systematic measure to control the spread of COVID-19 in the country. It is considered to be the strictest social constraint New Zealanders have experienced in modern history. In her regular COVID-19 press briefing today, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, along with Health Director General Ashley Bloomfield, stated that there are very positive indications that the country is gaining ground in its fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The government today announced that the country has now positively gained control over the virus. COVID-19 virulence modeling showed that without lockdown measures, New Zealand was headed for an infection trajectory similar to that of Italy and Spain. The model predicted near the peak, New Zealand would have around 1,000 cases per day. But thanks to the restrictions in place, New Zealand has been able to find flare-ups and contain outbreaks in different regions, giving the health services system time to adapt without being overwhelmed with cases. For instance, from 0 tests per day pre-COVID, it now has the capability to process up to 8,000 tests per day, which is one of the highest rates per capita in the world. COVID-19 positive cases could go down to as low as 0.05 5% a day. This means that there is no possibility for any widespread transmission to remain undetected. Meanwhile, transmission rate has gone down to 0.4, which means that for every identified new case, less than half a person could possibly be infected. Also noteworthy is the fact that only single-digit new cases have been reported in the past few days. These are the figures that gave the government confidence to move down from level 4. In a light moment toward the end of the press conference today, Dr. Bloomfield, who is the Health Director General, was asked what he thought about the suggestion heard from some overseas leaders that people should inject themselves with bleach to kill COVID-19. In an off-character moment, the Director General was surprisingly caught off guard. I have never seen this happen to him before. He's always so composed. And in this time, he was unable to respond and stood mum and looked shocked for a moment. Smartly, the Prime Minister caught up with him, saying in a joke, "We'll let your silence speak for itself." Thank you, Alma.
All right. I think we were all caught off guard there, but President Trump said he said it sarcastically, but, we never know. Anyway, first of all, after more than 4 weeks, what were the criteria followed in deciding to lift the level 4 lockdown?
Sorry, was that, Alma? It got caught up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. First of all, after more than 4 weeks, what were the criteria followed in deciding to lift the level 4 lockdown?
There are several that the government outlined. Among them was the capability of public health units to conduct contact tracing and the tests, how rapidly they returned positive or negative results, and also border control measures. They were first secured that these measures were first in place and very watertight before they decided to move down to level 3, but also very cautiously so that only safe operations are allowed under level 3.
So what does a level 3 lockdown see reopen, and how will this be regulated if it is so required?
Level 3 would allow the opening of more businesses, including the resumption of construction operations and manufacturing, forestry, some retail for as long as there are no face-to-face transactions. These must be limited to click and collect or online transactions. And as to your second question about what kinds of restrictions, how these will be implemented, there will still be a huge visibility of police enforcement on the ground, and also that the Prime Minister said that she was counting on New Zealanders' common sense to keep the gains locked in.
Okay. So will companies still be encouraged to enforce work from home arrangements, given that close working proximities could still repeat the spread?
Yes. Under level 3, for as long as it's possible to work from home, also to learn from home in educational setting, it is encouraged that people should still stay at home. That is how the virus will be contained. But for as long as it doesn't, what is critical in level 3 is that there will be some reopening so that the economy does not really die down, but there will be some restoration of a semblance of normalcy in some operations.
So will church going now be encouraged? Will indoor or outdoor concerts be allowed? Will malls be open? Airline travel? Land transportation?
It doesn't look like that at the moment. Congregations are very discouraged at this time. It was already said, she mentioned earlier that in an earlier press briefing that anybody who was found to be congregating, even in like recreational activities, they will be approached by police and they will be dispersed. Because the emphasis in this case is the limiting of a bubble to small and exclusive.
So I don't know if you could I don't know. You can come back with me on this if ever. September will be the general elections there in New Zealand, right? So how will this significantly affect the campaign?
They
Like
are
online
not
voting, will this be explored by New Zealand or something? I don't know. just curious.
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
there was someone in the press conference who asked about that, but the Prime Minister said that it would go on as usual for now, for as long as, because we're taking things one step at a time. So at
Okay.
this time, it looks like it could proceed for as long as there are no new waves of cases, which has happened in other countries. But we are moving very slowly and very cautiously.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Bea, for all that update from New Zealand. And we hope to see you again. Always keep safe, stay healthy.
Thank you, you too, Alma. Once again, this is Bea Borja reporting live from Wellington City, New Zealand. We live in interesting times.
All right. To Bangladesh now. The garment factories there are partially reopening. Plus, we get the current coronavirus situation there. Joining us live from Bangladesh is Arabel Pascua. Hello, Arabel. Hello, Arabel. Thank you for joining us today. How are you? Okay, we'll try and get Arabel in a little while. Let's go first to Malaysia, and Ruby Tinawin joins us live. Hello, Ruby.
Hi, Alma. Good
Hello.
afternoon.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. What are your updates for us there in Malaysia?
Yes, here are the updates. There are some good news. Number one, when Senior Minister Datuk Ismail Yaakob announced last week that members of the public who were stranded in their home villages due to MCO can now apply to return to their respective homes. So there was this mobile app the government has come up with. They call it Gerak Malaysia app, that the Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department Director Datuk Uzir said the public can use to apply for an interstate travel permit from home without the need to go to any police station. So there are other several permits that Malaysian can actually apply through this app. They can apply for purchasing essential items within 10 kilometers from home. They can apply to get permit for medical treatment, for emergencies and activities such as vehicle repair. Now, this Gerak Malaysia app, this is a tracking app that the users, before allowing access, must first record their personal details, and the app must be allowed access to their phone's GPS and location services. So the information provided by the individuals will actually help the police and the enforcers to track the population movement during MCO. This step is compulsory before they can granted access to travel. Now, the app, once you apply, will generate a QR code that needs to be scanned and checked by enforcers on duty at roadblocks. So you are only able to travel on the day when you apply. Now, Wazir said the permit application through Gerak Malaysia app will help police identify the number of people involved, as well as to provide a travel schedule to ensure smooth operation. You are now, the app is now open for application since April 26 until April 29. And the traveling will start on May 1st to May 3 only. Now, as of today, the government has already scheduled different specific states that can travel on certain days, May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd. So if you are not belonging to that state, or you are not belonging to, your date is not indicated there, so you are not able to travel. Now, Astro Awani reported that in just 12 hours after the announcement was made, There are now 300,000 applications received via the Gerak Malaysia app. So this app can be downloaded in any of the app stores such as Google, Play Store, Apple, and Huawei Gallery. Also here, because even though the MCO is extended until May 12, tertiary students are now able to return home. Because as you know, during the lockdown period, students, especially those who are staying in their hostels, were not allowed to go home. So they were kept in their dormitories until yesterday. But starting today, they can now travel. However, students, Higher Education Minister Dr. Nohaini Ahmad said in a statement on Sunday that the process would not involve students in red and yellow zones. So those hometowns whose hometowns are within the same zones. So this is only for students who are from the green zones. As you know, green zones are those without any reported cases of COVID-19. But however, there'll be extensive preparations being done to send students. This is in cooperation with Ministry of Health, National Security Council, National Disaster Management Agency, and the Royal Malaysia Police. She said the ministry would provide transportation to take students from one identified center at their institution to their destinations. And each transport service would be accompanied by a liaison officer with a complete list of students. She also mentioned that there would be symptom screening like body temperature, sore throat, cough, and the rest will be conducted by the Ministry of Health and the University Health Center before the student return home. Now, meanwhile, the government have actually given their assurance, and the Prime Minister said they will ensure that the local SME sector will remain resilient and sustainable in facing the current economic challenges, especially the cash flow problem during the movement control order period. That was the announcement made by Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, because he said SME is a key sector here, accounting for more than 2/3 of the job in the country and almost 40% of the Malaysian economy. He also said in that special interview aired over RTM, Astrawani, TV3, and Bernama TV yesterday, and I quote, "This is important because the major part of our economy relies on SME activities involving a huge number of workers. I think almost 70% of our workforce comes from the SME sector, which contributes more than 35% of the GDP. The government had unveiled a 250 billion COVID-19 relief fund under economic stimulus package, which, among others, allocated 100 billion ringgit to support businesses, including SME. Now, also in a special interview with the Prime Minister, broadcasted in RTM and Astrawani and other local TV stations here last Friday, he stressed on the importance of providing good digitalization infrastructure, as the country was no longer the same following COVID-19 pandemic and the impact of the movement control order. So he said, and I quote, "The process of digitalization in government administration, in business matters, in our daily lives will be the trend in our future, and I think the impact will be huge." He also added the process of digitalizing government services must be more comprehensive so that the people can adapt to the new normal. He also said that it was important for the people to benefit from it, including in the education and business sectors, so as to take the Malaysia economy to a more advanced level. He said that a robust digitalization system could transform the community in its daily dealings, even with farmers and fishermen, who could also utilize the technology to market their products. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister noted that the new normal situation did not mean the cabinet members were not working. They will use technology to carry out their tasks.
Okay. So, Ruby, yes, may I ask, I read that the Gerak Malaysia app, the one you said, was met with some confusion by citizens. Any news on this? They said that because it might be used for spy permission to travel during the MCOs or something like that.
Okay, the app, the Gerak Malaysia app, first of all, actually was an app developed for the government in early April. So this is a tracking app. So everyone
that's why,
is a tracking app. So basically, the moment you register, and you want to apply for a permit, because they made it a point that the application for permit to travel interstate is made through this app. All right?
Okay.
So when you apply, you need to provide your personal details, and one part of it is to allow the app to actually track your location. Now, the purpose of it is basically to track the people's movement, because it's important that, you know, as it is now, although the number of green district or green zones have increased, we are not still on 100% safe from a possible infection.
Okay.
So this is one way that the government is thinking that it would be easier to actually trace if there will be, you know, a tracking system like this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So it's for contact tracing as well. Used for contact tracing. Okay. Thank you so much, Ruby, for all that update. And we'll see you soon. Thank you. And stay safe, stay healthy.
Yes, thank you, Alma. Reporting live here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This is Ruby Tinawin. We live in interesting times.
All right, let's go back to Bangladesh, where the garment factories there are partially reopening, plus the coronavirus situation there. Joining us live from Bangladesh is Arabel Pasqua. Hello, Arabel. Hello, Arabel, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Yes. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. All right.
Good day to you, Alma.
Good to hear you. Okay. Yes, what are your updates for us, Arabel?
Okay. Here are the latest updates in Bangladesh. According to BD News 24, garment factories partially resume operations amid virus shutdown. A segment of garment factories affiliated with RMG Entrepreneurs Lobbies, PGMEA and BKMEA have resumed operations on a limited scale on Sunday amid a nationwide lockdown over the coronavirus outbreak. The PGMEA has set a 30% attendance maximum target for the factories opening on Sunday, while BKMEA has advised its members to only open meeting, dyeing, and sample sections, which will also require at least 30% attendance. But the factories are only calling up workers living in close proximity to the units, as the relaunched guidelines advise against bringing back distant workers at this time. In a directive sent to its members, the BGMEA outlined the different phases through which the factories will gradually increase capacity. In the first phase, only workers living in the vicinity of the relevant factories will be allowed to return to work. From April 26 to May 2, only 30% of the total workers can be present in the factories. Based on the results, the factories will later be allowed to recall up to 50% of its workers. Workers cannot be brought to Dhaka from villages. BGMEA also requested the factory owners not to lay off workers. Meanwhile, the workers' organizations have reiterated their stand against the reopening of factories. In addition, according to Dhaka Tribune, tally of infected doctors reaching 350. Interns are at high risk of getting infected since patients are hiding their medical history. Doctors fighting coronavirus from the front lines continue to suffer as 28 more physicians were confirmed infected in the past 12 hours until 8 a.m. on Sunday. According to Bangladesh Doctors Foundation, the total number of infected doctors now stands at 352. almost a six-fold increase from just 54 on April 14. This means some 22 doctors were infected per day over the 12-day period. Apart from doctors, no less than 400 healthcare professionals have already contracted the novel coronavirus. Till date, some 15 hospitals have been locked down to stop the spread of the virus. The majority of the infections continue to be from Dhaka, followed by Narayanganj, Gazipur, and Kishoreganj. Most cases were at government hospitals. The curve crossed the 300 mark around 9 p.m. on Friday. The upward trend of infections among doctors continues amidst widespread discontent from healthcare professionals regarding the quality and distribution of personal protective equipment. Several media reports have also questioned the quality of PPE provided to medics. A government doctor was recently show-caused for criticizing health authorities regarding the PPE issue. Founder and chief administrator of BDF said infected doctors accounted for nearly 13% of the total number of registered physicians in the country. He then stated that all other health workers combined, the percentage of infected healthcare professionals stand at a little over 16%, which is higher than that of the US and even Italy. Bangladesh reported the first death of doctor diagnosed with COVID-19 on April 15. Earlier, on April 12, a doctor died with symptoms similar with COVID-19 in Dhaka. Meanwhile, the health minister of Bangladesh urged government employees not to speak to the media without obtaining permission from higher authorities. And lastly, Bangladesh records 5 more deaths as total cases tops 5,400. 418 people test positive for the deadly disease in the last 24 hours. Directorate General of Health Services revealed the latest figures during a daily online briefing from Dhaka on Sunday afternoon. She said as many as 3,680 samples were collected in the last 24 hours, and of those, 3,476 were tested. She also added that a total of 46,589 samples have been tested so far. On April 24, Bangladesh recorded the highest single-day cases from coronavirus infection as 503 people tested positive in the previous 24 hours. The DGHS official said among the 5 deceased, 3 men and 2 women, 4 were from Dhaka City and 1 from Dohar under Dhaka District. Among the dead, a child who was suffering from kidney problems was aged below 10 years and 4 others were aged above 60 years. On April 20, the death toll from coronavirus infection crossed the 100 mark in Bangladesh. On April 17, the country recorded the highest deaths with 15 more fatalities from the pandemic announced by the World Health Organization since the country declared its first death on March 18. As of today, the updated cases here in Bangladesh rise up to 5,416 infected with 122 recoveries and 145 deaths. Alma?
Can you just give us a little bit of a picture before I let you go? Just a short one. How is Bangladesh looking? What do you have there? Do you have curfews? Are you starting to reopen businesses, or are you still on a lockdown?
Actually, Alma, before time, they already implied the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew here in Bangladesh. And as I reported, they are now gradually opening up the factories just to save their economy as well.
Okay. So gradually reopening the economy. And how is the government going to address the reopening of this economy? Like, are they going to contact trace as well? Testing will continue or something like that? Or can you tell us?
Yes, Alma. Actually, they are still they told the BGMEA and BKMEA to practice the protocol of safety of every workers that will be present in the factories by yesterday and up to May 2nd.
Okay. So social distancing, all that. Are gatherings already allowed, or are they still banned?
No, they already banned the gatherings here in Bangladesh.
So even though it's reopening, the gatherings are still banned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
They're encouraging actually the people here because this is a Muslim country, Alma, right? So they are encouraging the people here to pray in their households. Not usually they're doing it in mosques, but now all mosques are closed.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. We'll talk to you some more in the coming days. Arabelle, this is the first time we had you on the show. Thank you so much, and we'll wait for more updates over there in Bangladesh. Thank you, Arabelle.
Alma. Thank you very much, Alma. Reporting live from Bangladesh, I am Arabelle Pasqua. We live in interesting times.
And that is the latest news in and around ASEAN region and other Asian countries and other parts of the world. And I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.